The third water glass refill arrives with another sympathetic glance from Paolo, the maitre d' at Ristorante Milano. His silver hair catches the glow of the crystal chandeliers as he leans forward, voice low and gentle. Perhaps another few minutes, Ms. Bennet. I smooth my dress for the 100th time, fingers catching on the unfamiliar satin. The price tag had made me wince, but 4 years together seemed worth the splurge. Yes, please, I'm sure he's just caught in traffic. Paolo's kind eyes flick to the wrapped box beside my half-empty bread plate. The vintage watch inside had emptied my savings, but Derek mentioned loving these old timepieces months ago. I've learned to listen when he drops hints about gifts. The door chimes. My heart leaps, then sinks as an elderly couple shuffles past. 6:30 has stretched into 7, then past 8. Each time the door opens, my spine straightens, hoping. Each time it isn't him, I shrink a little smaller in the massive leather booth. A burst of laughter shatters the restaurant's quiet ambiance. My stomach clenches before I even turn around. I know that laugh. See, told you she'd still be here. Loyal like a Labrador. Derek's voice carries across the dining room, followed by deeper chuckles from the 3 men trailing behind him. I recognize them from his softball league, the ones who always seem to need temporary loans. Heat crawls up my neck as other diners turn to stare. A woman in pearls quickly looks away when our eyes meet. Her husband whispers something, shaking his head. Derek drops into the booth designer jacket reeking of cigarettes. She pays the bills and still shows up. That's why I keep her. He grins at his friends who snicker as they pull up chairs. The screech of chair legs against hardwood makes an older couple at the next table wince. I thought... My voice comes out small. I clear my throat. Try again. I thought we were celebrating our anniversary. Just us. And Miss Boys Night, come on, babe, you know Thursdays are for the crew. Derek flags down Paolo, pointing at me. She'll get the wine list. The good stuff, right, honey, since you're already dressed up and all. His eyes rake over my dress, lips curling. Though maybe lay off the bread basket. That satin's pulling a little tight. The words hit like a slap. I think of the afternoons spent shopping trying to find something perfect. The extra shifts I picked up to afford it. The hours I spent getting ready thinking he'd appreciate the effort. A flash of 4 years ago surfaces. My first week in Milwaukee after Mom died. The broken light fixture, the handsome electrician who showed up to fix it. His gentle questions about why I was crying. The coffee dates where he listened, really listened to my dreams of going back to school, starting my own business someday. When had that man disappeared? Or had he ever really existed? Other memories filter through ones I've pushed away. His emergency move-in 6 months after we met, when his roommate supposedly stopped paying rent. My hesitation silenced by his reminder that I needed someone to look after me, now that Mom was gone. The first borrowed car payment. His cutting comments when I mentioned my dwindling savings. The way my friends stopped visiting after he made them uncomfortable one too many times. Paolo appears with wine menus. I close mine without opening it. Just the wine tab, please. My voice comes out steadier than I expect. I reach for my purse. Derek's hand clamps around my wrist. Don't be so sensitive. We're celebrating. I look at his fingers pressed into my skin, then at his face. Something shifts inside me like a key turning in a lock. I have a work emergency. I stand shoulders straight. Enjoy your evening. Marcy, sit down. You're making a scene. His grip tightens. I gently but firmly remove his hand. No, Derek. You already did that. Then Paolo materializes with my coat, helping me into it with a slight bow. As I walk toward the door, I catch my reflection in the windows. For a moment, I barely recognize the woman staring back at me. Her eyes hold something I haven't seen in years. Dignity. Behind me, Derek's voice rises. See what I put up with, drama queen, am I right? But I'm already pushing through the door into the cool Milwaukee night, leaving the wrapped vintage watch on the table behind me. He never did appreciate gifts anyway. Through the window, I see Paolo discreetly sliding the wine list in front of Derek. I know exactly what he'll order. The most expensive bottle because someone else is paying. But for the first time in 4 years, that someone won't be me. 20 minutes later, the streetlights blur through Denise's car window, each one casting shadows across my lap. I haven't spoken since she picked me up outside Ristorante Milano. Haven't needed to. The tissue box appeared on my knee the moment I slid into the passenger seat, but my eyes stay dry. I ordered your favorite from Giovanni's. Denise says, her voice pitched low like she's talking to a spooked cat. That tortellini soup you used to get before? The words hang there. Before Derek complained about the garlic. Before he insisted Giovanni's prices were ridiculous when I could just heat up canned soup at home. My fingers trace the edge of the tissue box. When did I become so small? Denise's knuckles whiten on the steering wheel. She bites back whatever she's been wanting to say these past 3 years. Instead, she asks, "What do you need right now?" A laugh bubbles up sharp and foreign in my throat. I think the truth clicks into place like a key turning. I think I've been taking care of a child, not building a life with a partner. Denise snorts, and suddenly we're both laughing, real laughter that shakes the tears loose. Except children eventually grow up, she wheezes, and I laugh harder because it hurts less than crying. At my home, the kitchen table swims into focus at 3 in the morning. Bank statements spread before me like tarot cards telling a future I should have seen coming. My reading glasses slip down my nose as I squint at the numbers calculator clicking steadily. $17,432 in car payments for a vehicle I've never driven. $24,990 in rent since he moved in with that story about his roommate. $9,675 in emergency cash that always seemed to coincide with his softball league dues or new gaming equipment. The paper cuts sting as I sort through credit card applications, all bearing the address we share. My signature loops across cosigner lines I never signed. The longer I look, the more patterns emerge, each crisis timed perfectly with my payday. Each promise to repay coming right before he needed something else. My phone buzzes. Another angry voicemail joins the folder I've unconsciously labeled evidence. My thumb hovers over the play button, but I already know what I'll hear. The same threats wrapped in concern. The same guilt wrapped in love. Dawn paints shadows across our 2-bedroom apartment as I walk from room to room. The contrast slaps me awake harder than any coffee could. My bedroom, a twin bed with sheets from Goodwill. One lamp missing its shade because we'll get you a new one soon. A closet half empty since he needed space for his winter coats. His room, 3 gaming monitors, casting their glow across designer clothes still bearing tags. Empty bottles tucked behind stacks of shoeboxes, always his preferred brands, always paid for with money I loaned him for job interviews. The refrigerator door swings open, his organic almond milk, his imported cheese, his craft beer, nothing I would choose for myself, nothing I even like. My laptop whirs to life and my hands shake as I type in his passwords. How many times had I logged into his accounts to make those car payments? How many job applications had I helped him polish each one, requiring his login information? The emails load. Messages to friends about his sugar mama and her gullible nature. Plans for boys' nights funded by the money I thought was going toward our future. Jokes about how easy it is to make me feel guilty when I question his spending. The teacup warms my palms as I sit at my kitchen table. Morning sun catches the hearts I drew around today's date on the calendar. 4 years. The paper trembles as I pick up my pen, but my handwriting stays steady as I begin my list. Step 1. Call bank about reversing last car payment. Step 2. Document unauthorized credit applications. Step 3. Change all passwords. Step 4. Contact credit bureaus. Step 5. Pack his things. No drama. No screaming matches or revenge plots. Just quiet, methodical steps toward freedom. My voice barely whispers the words, but they fill the kitchen with their weight. No more chaos, no drama, just dignity. The calculator clicks one final time. The total of everything I've given him could have been a down payment on a house. Could have funded the small business I dreamed about over those first coffee dates. Could have been anything except what it became the price tag for learning what I'm worth. But as I fold the bank statements into clean, sharp creases, a different total comes clear. the cost of staying would be higher than anything he's already taken. That number doesn't fit on my calculator's display. It can't be measured in dollars or cents. The sun climbs higher, warming the kitchen tile beneath my bare feet. I haven't slept at all, but for the first time in 4 years, I don't check my phone to see if he needs anything. Don't calculate how long until my next paycheck might cover his latest emergency. Don't make myself smaller to fit the space he's left me. Instead, I pour another cup of tea and start making calls. The bank, the credit card companies, the apartment manager. Each conversation adds another brick to the wall I'm building between the woman I was last night and the one I'm becoming in the morning light. My voice grows stronger with each call. My spine straightens just a little more. And somewhere between my third cup of tea and the first email to a lawyer, I realize I'm not scared anymore. Not of his anger. Not of being alone. The only fear left is the thought of spending one more day living someone else's life. My phone buzzes for the 12th time in an hour this morning. Derek's name flashes across the screen with another text, "Where are you?" I set the phone face down on the dining room table and return to the spreadsheet where every transaction from the past 4 years glows in neat rows. Beside me, Denise clicks through online banking statements, highlighting numbers in yellow. "Another one," she asks without looking up. Just marking his territory. I check off another box on my list, like a dog who can't figure out why his favorite fire hydrant isn't responding. The next message comes faster. "Answer me!" Denise's fingers pause over her keyboard. "Want me to block him?" "Not yet." I sort another stack of receipts into chronological order. "Let him build the evidence file for us." The light slants through my apartment windows, catching dust motes that dance around scattered papers and empty coffee mugs. On the wall, my grandmother's old clock ticks steadily, marking time in the same reliable rhythm it has since 1962. Its constancy anchors me as I document every car payment, every rent check, every emergency loan. Denise whistles low. For a car that's only in his name. $24,000 in rent. I tap my calculator. Plus utilities. And the cash loans. $9,675. The number burns in my throat. That I can prove with bank records. My phone lights up again. This time it's a call. I let it ring through to voicemail as I dial the auto loan company instead. The hold music plays softly while I arrange my documentation. "Thank you for calling Midwest Auto Finance. This is Sandra." "Hello, Sandra." My voice comes out steady, professional. "I'm calling about account number 47829B. I've been making payments on this vehicle for 3 years, but I'm not listed on the loan." Papers shuffle on Sandra's end. I see the payment history. "Are you Marcy Bennett?" "Yes, I have records of every payment from my account, but I never signed any loan documents." "Oh, honey." Sandra's tone shifts from professional to personal. "I've seen this before. Give me a few minutes here." While Sandra reviews the account, I open my laptop and begin changing passwords. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, services I've paid for since Derek moved in. His gaming accounts linked to my credit card. Email accounts I helped him set up for job applications. With each change, another piece of my life returns to my control. "Ms. Bennett," Sandra returns. "That last payment you made Thursday hasn't posted yet. I can stop it from processing if you'd like." A familiar flutter of anxiety rises in my chest. The same feeling that always came before I told Derek no. I push it aside. "Yes, please, stop the payment." Denise squeezes my hand as I end the call. Next, his cloud storage. I type in the password I created when he needed help backing up photos. Let's see what else he's been keeping there. Files populate the screen. My bank statements scanned copies of my driver's license, social security card, documents I never gave him permission to store. I download everything to a secure folder, then systematically delete his access. The afternoon melts into evening. Derek's messages grow increasingly desperate as each account locks him out. Between digital cleanups, Denise helps me bag his belongings, designer clothes bought with my credit card, gaming equipment financed through my Best Buy account, the vintage watch I left on the restaurant table last night. He must have grabbed it before storming out. Donation center or dump? Denise hefts another garbage bag. Donation center. I fold one of his expensive shirts. Someone might need these things. In his closet, I find items I thought were lost. My mother's silver picture frame, the leather portfolio from my first job, birthday gifts from friends that mysteriously disappeared after he claimed they were tacky. My phone lights up with a final message: "You can't do this to me," but I already have. On Monday, I'll visit HR to remove him as my emergency contact. I'll speak with building security about preventing his access. I'll start rebuilding the boundaries he spent years dismantling. The sun sets as we load the last bag into Denise's car. Through my apartment windows, I see lights flickering on across the city. Other lives, other stories, other moments of quiet revolution. I think of the spreadsheets waiting on my dining room table. The careful documentation of 4 years spent carrying someone who confused sacrifice for weakness. The evidence gathered by a heart that knew even when my mind wasn't ready to admit it. My phone stays silent now. In the growing dark, I water the small potted herbs on my windowsill. Plants I started growing last week in soil that's mine alone. Their leaves stretch toward the glass, reaching for light and space to grow. Ready? Denise jingles her car keys. I look around my apartment. The gaps where his things stood now feel less like empty spaces and more like room to breathe. Yeah, I'm ready. The donation center closes in 30 minutes. Just enough time to drop off the physical remnants of a life I'm finally ready to leave behind. Just enough time to begin again. The first block number appears at 6:43 a.m. on Tuesday. Marcy watches her phone vibrate across her kitchen counter. Derek's name nowhere to be found on the screen. She sips her coffee, remembering his habit of borrowing friends' phones when he wants to avoid bill collectors. 10 more calls follow before noon. She savors the silence between each one, counting the minutes until the next desperate attempt. At 12:17, the text messages start. Unknown. They're saying my card declined at Murphy's. Unknown. The landlord called about rent. Unknown. What did you do? Marcy sets her phone face down and returns to updating her spreadsheet. The numbers tell their own story now. 4 years of calculated exploitation revealed in clean, efficient rows. Her finger traces across the screen, lingering on the final total, 51,997. The apartment manager catches her eye as she walks through the lobby that evening. Just wanted to say those noise complaints about the late-night gaming should have told you sooner. Man had a mouth on him when I asked him to keep it down. Thank you, Mike. Marcy pauses at the elevator. Did he ever yell at Mrs. Peterson upstairs? Regular occurrence. Called her an old bat when she complained about his music at 3 a.m. Mike adjusts his nameplate. Security footage caught most of it. Added it to the file we're keeping just in case. The elevator doors open to reveal Derek standing in front of her apartment, fist raised to pound on the door again. Their eyes meet. His designer jacket looks rumpled, his carefully styled hair disheveled. You change the locks. His voice cracks. I live here. The notice on the door explains everything. Marcy gestures to the legal document taped beside the handle. Your name was never on the lease. Where am I supposed to go? Your parents offered their spare room. I'm not living with them. They're impossible. He runs his hands through his hair. You know how they treat me. No. Marcy unlocks her door, careful to block the entrance with her body. I know how they offered to help if you agree to counseling. That's not the same thing. The slam of his fist against the wall echoes through the hallway. Mrs. Peterson's door cracks open above, then quickly shuts. Marcy imagines Mike downstairs, adding another clip to that security file. You've ruined everything. Derek's voice rises. My car payment bounced. They're saying they'll repossess the payment I made every month for 2 years. Marcy keeps her tone neutral. Yes, I canceled the last one. Still pending, thankfully. You can't. I can. I did. She steps inside. The bank was very interested in how those payments never appeared on my credit report, despite coming from my account. Apparently, that's a red flag. The door closes on his reply. Marcy leans against it, listening to his footsteps fade toward the stairwell. Her hands shake as she makes T-muscle memory reaching for the expensive brand he insisted on. Instead, she chooses the simple peppermint tea her mother always made when she was upset. The next morning, her inbox holds an email from Derek's supervisor. The subject line reads, "Revoice messages and performance documentation." She opens it during her lunch break between bites of the sandwich she can now afford to buy fresh, instead of watching her groceries disappear into Derek's late-night snacking. Ms. Bennett, thank you for bringing these concerning behaviors to our attention. Mr. Thompson's comments about our clients and company policies warrant immediate review. Her phone buzzes. A text from Derek's mother. I had no idea he spoke to you that way. Those recordings broke my heart. We've enabled him for too long. Thank you for having the courage we didn't. Marcy closes her office door and opens a new spreadsheet. The monthly car payment she no longer needs to make, $352, goes into the first cell. A beginning, not an ending. The local coffee shop she stopped visiting after Derek complained about the prices welcomes her back with unexpected warmth. The barista, Sarah, slides her Americano across the counter with a gentle smile. We've wanted to tell you for months, Sarah says, refusing Marcy's debit card. The way he treated our staff when you weren't around. This one's on us. Welcome back. Marcy learns about the other businesses gradually. The bar where he grabbed a server's wrist. The gym that canceled his membership after complaints about his behavior in the locker room. The restaurant that kept his photo behind the counter. Just so we know who not to serve, the hostess explains with a wink. Her first meeting with the financial advisor feels like confession. The woman listens without judgment, nodding as Marcy outlines the missing savings, the diverted payments, the loans she never agreed to co-sign. You'd be surprised how common this is, the advisor says, spreading paperwork across her desk. But you caught it relatively early. Look, you still qualify for a small home loan. Your credit score will recover. You're not starting over. You're starting smarter. The final email arrives on a Sunday morning. Marcy reads it on her balcony, morning sun, warming her shoulders through a robe she bought herself just because she liked the color. I'm sleeping in my car. This is your fault. You've left me homeless and penniless. I hope you're happy with yourself. The reply from his mother arrives moments later when Marcy forwards the message. He refused our spare room again this morning, said our rules were beneath him. The counselor we found has an opening Tuesday. Marcy blocks 3 numbers before lunch. Derek's friends text through Instagram instead, their messages shifting from accusations to admissions. He told us you stole everything, but that doesn't match what we've learned. Sorry, we never said anything. His final message comes through an unfamiliar email address at midnight. I know what you did. I can make this public. Marcy closes her laptop, remembers the folder of evidence she provided his employer, his parents, his creditors. So many years of saving things, just in case, while her heart knew what her mind refused to admit. Her response requires only one word: truth. She sleeps through the night for the first time in years. A week later, glass walls rise around me in the insurance company lobby, morning light streaming through in golden rectangles. My heels click steady rhythms against marble as I cross to the elevator bank. 3 steps from the doors, his voice shatters the quiet. You think you can just ghost me after everything I did for you? My pulse jumps, but my stride doesn't falter. Security guards Thomas and Jim move from their desk with practiced calm, exactly as we discussed last week. They position themselves between Derek and the elevator bank where I stand. Sir, this is private property. Thomas says, his voice carrying the weight of 30 years on the force. Private property. Derek's laugh bounces off glass and marble. That's my woman you're blocking me from. Tell them, Marcy, tell them who I am. I turn shoulders straight and meet his eyes. I'm not your anything, Derek. 4 years. His voice rises, drawing attention from colleagues arriving for work. 4 years I took care of you after your mom died. You'd be nothing without me. The old Marcy would have hunched her shoulders, tried to disappear. But that Marcy died in an Italian restaurant 3 months ago. The only thing you took care of was spending my money. My voice carries clear and calm. Around me, co-workers pause their morning routines, forming a loose barrier between us. Susan from accounting steps closer, coffee cup gripped like a weapon. Mark from IT angles his broad shoulders into Derek's line of sight. You want to talk about money? Derek's face flushes red. How about the loans you took out in my name? The credit cards. Everything is documented. I slip my phone from my purse thumb, hovering over the record button. Would you like me to forward the bank records showing every payment I made on your behalf, or the texts where you asked for them? His mouth closes. Behind him, more colleagues gather faces hard. They've heard his voice messages, seen the late-night texts. Sometimes the best revenge is simply letting someone's true nature show itself. This isn't over, he spits, backing toward the doors. You'll regret this. No, I smile, feeling the slight dimple form in my right cheek. I won't. The elevator arrives with a soft chime. As I step inside, Susan squeezes my arm. Lunch later. I nod, warmth spreading through my chest. The doors close on Derek's retreating back. That afternoon, I sit across from Patricia Chen at Milwaukee Legal Aid, sliding a folder across her desk. I have everything documented: bank statements, texts, voicemails, witnesses to verbal threats. She opens the folder, scanning efficiently. 20 years of domestic cases have taught her what matters. This is extremely thorough. Most clients don't think to save evidence until it's too late. I didn't think either. Not consciously. But some part of me knew. Her eyes soften. The heart knows before the head sometimes. Now let's talk about that restraining order. With a perfect plan, we were ready for the courtroom. 2 weeks later, I stand in a courtroom, hands steady on the podium. The judge peers over reading glasses, reviewing my documentation. Ms. Bennett, what outcome are you seeking here? I just want to be left alone. Simple truth carries its own power. The judge nods, signs the order. Behind me, Derek shifts in his seat, muttering under his breath. But the law speaks louder than his protests. Changes ripple outward like stones dropped in still water. His car disappears from the apartment complex parking lot, towed back to the dealership. The credit card companies close his accounts. His parents send a letter, not to me, but to him. They'll help, they write, but only if he agrees to counseling. I hear through the office grapevine that he's on probation at work. The recordings I sent his boss weren't vindictive, just his own words about faking timesheets, sleeping through client calls. Sometimes the truth is the sharpest weapon. His friends drift away as the story spreads. No more softball games, no more boys' nights. The woman he started dating after me, Lana, posts cryptic warnings on social media after finding messages to other women on his phone. His landlord requires a co-signer for his new lease. No one steps forward. A week after the trial, I'm sorting mail in my building's lobby when his shadow falls across the tile. My heart pounds, but my voice stays level. You're violating the restraining order. I've lost everything. His voice cracks. You have to help me. You're the only one who ever really cared. No, I close my mailbox, turn to face him. I'm the only one who ever let you take advantage of that care. His hand reaches for my arm, then drops as I step back. Please, I'll change. I'll do better. I gave you everything I had. The words come soft but clear. Now, I'm giving myself the same generosity. I walk past him to the stairs, keys clutched tight. His voice follows me. You can't just leave me with nothing. I pause, 1 foot on the bottom step. You did this to yourself, Derek. All of it. The stairwell door closes behind me with a quiet click. Through the wire-reinforced window, I see him standing motionless in the lobby, staring at the space where I stood. Understanding finally dawning in his eyes. Not just what he lost, but that he was the one who threw it away. I climb the stairs to my apartment, each step lighter than the last. Sometimes dignity isn't about grand gestures or dramatic scenes. Sometimes it's just about walking away and meaning it. Behind my locked door, I curl up on the couch with a cup of tea. My phone buzzes, probably Susan checking in. The restraining order paperwork sits on my coffee table, official seal catching the afternoon light. Outside my window, a cardinal lands on the fire escape, bright red against gray metal. I take a sip of tea, letting warmth spread through my chest. The bird cocks its head, studying its reflection in my window. After a moment, it spreads its wings and soars away, leaving only empty air where it perched. I raise my mug in a silent toast. Here's to empty spaces and the freedom they bring. Here's to walking away. Here's to giving yourself the love you wasted on someone who never deserved it. Here's to dignity. 6 months later, sunlight streams through bare windows, painting golden squares across my hardwood floors. No heavy drapes block the morning light anymore. Digby stretches on his windowsill perch, whiskers twitching as he tracks a sparrow outside. My rescue cat earned his full name Dignity the day he hissed at Derek's final attempt to push past my new apartment door. We're a good match, both learning to protect our space. The bank statement on my desk shows another month of steady growth. Not dramatic numbers, but honest ones. Every dollar belongs to me. No mysterious withdrawals, no urgent demands for temporary loans. Just the quiet accumulation of choices that put my needs first. Travel brochures scatter across my desk. Weekend trips to Door County. A kayaking adventure. In the Apostle Islands cooking classes in Chicago. The kinds of dreams Derek called wasteful. My fingers trace the glossy photo of Oregon's Cannon Beach. I've already booked my flight. My shoulders drop naturally now when I walk through my apartment. The tension that lived between my shoulder blades for 4 years has melted away, replaced by a lightness I'd forgotten could exist. Even my breathing comes easier in this space that's wholly mine. Thursday evenings mean dinner with Denise and our growing circle of friends. Real friends who celebrate my successes and listen without judgment when I need to process another layer of healing. Last week I brought my famous apple pie, the recipe Derek claimed was showing off. Sarah asked for the recipe. Beth took seconds. No one made me feel small for enjoying the simple pleasure of feeding people I love. My financial recovery group meets Tuesday nights in a warm church basement that smells of coffee and hope. I'm not the newest member anymore. Sometimes I share the spreadsheet system I developed for rebuilding my savings. Sometimes I just listen. The mentor from my bank, Linda, joined us last month as a guest speaker. She winked at me when describing how to document financial abuse. My careful records have become a template for others finding their way back to stability. The promotion caught me off guard last month. Your focus has improved dramatically, my supervisor said. We need your eye for detail on the Anderson account. I didn't realize anyone had noticed the change in me, but my colleagues seek me out, now value my input. Next week, I fly to Denver, my first business trip representing the company at a regional conference. My new pantsuit hangs ready in the closet, tailored to fit perfectly. The community garden plot wasn't available until spring, but winter gave me time to plan. My mother's old gardening books fill a shelf, now their pages marked with sticky notes. The tomato seedlings on my windowsill lean toward the sun, green promises of the harvest to come. Derek called gardening a waste of time. Now my soil-stained hands plant hope in neat rows. My morning reflection shows a woman I'm learning to recognize. The mirror no longer holds accusations about weight or age or worth. Just me choosing my own path. The silver threads in my brown hair catch the light wisdom earned, not flaws to hide. Last night I took myself to dinner at Chez Antoine. Not the restaurant where Derek humiliated me. I don't need that kind of symmetry to prove my growth. I chose this place because I wanted to try their coq au vin. The maitre d' seated me at a lovely corner table. I ordered exactly what I wanted, including the creme brulee for dessert. "You have a beautiful smile," called a man from the next table. "You should share it more often." I met his eyes calmly. "Thank you, but I'm enjoying my private dinner." No apology in my voice, no rush to soothe his ego. The waiter appeared instantly. "Is this gentleman bothering you, Miss—" "No," I said. He was just leaving. The man's face flushed as he turned away. The waiter nodded respectfully and refreshed my water. I savored every bite of my dessert. This morning's mail brought a letter from the First-Time Homebuyer Assistance Program. My interview for the senior coordinator position is next Wednesday. A dating app notification blinks on my phone. I downloaded it last week, but haven't created a profile. Not yet. The time will come when I'm ready to share my life again. But for now, this space is mine to fill. Digby purrs against my leg as I sort through old papers. My fingers brush a crumpled list titled "What I Deserve," written in tear-stained ink the night Derek left. I smooth it flat, then tear it into tiny pieces. On fresh paper, I write in steady strokes what I want. We built this ourselves, I tell Digby as he settles in my lap. He blinks slowly in agreement, both of us content in the quiet dignity of our shared home. Outside my bright windows, Milwaukee spreads under a spring sky full of possibility. I am not waiting for anyone to complete this life. I am already whole,